Good morning, friends and fellow travelers. It's Brandon. Today we are on a solo adventure out here on the Old Abe State Trail that I have mentioned to you before. We're in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin today. Seeing what we have, it's a pretty basic trail parking. So the first place that I went, the parking was full. That's the main trailhead by Lake Wissota State Park, where the pedestrian bridge goes right across. So that, of course, was full. So I took the trip up here to Anson or Chippewa Falls. I've seen both names used. So here we are. And we're going to explore and get off down the trail and see what we have. Okay, friends, so learning a little bit more about Old Abe State Park as we go through a residential area in the Anson/Chippewa Falls region of this trail. So this trail is 20 miles roughly. It's like 19.5, somewhere between 19.5 and 20 miles. And it connects the Brunet Island State Park and Lake Wissota State Parks. Lake Wissota we have seen before this past winter. So we're on the northern segment of this trail that will eventually lead up to the Cornell area where Brunet Island State Park is, where we will eventually do a video up at that state park. I really look forward to getting to Brunet Island State Park also. So right now, of course, we're starting in a very residential slash well, we're right next to a mill or something, so very urbanized area. So this trail is an old railroad that again connects the two state parks. And it's interesting that Old Abe is the name for a bald eagle that was the mascot of the 8th Wisconsin Volunteer Infantry Unit during the Civil War. So there you go. Some useless knowledge you probably didn't need to know. But nonetheless, we'll see where it takes us on this northern section of the state trail. I'm totally by myself today, no Winston. But as you all know, I've very much enjoyed getting on these Wisconsin state trails and sharing them with you alongside our state park videos and our trips into Minnesota, our trips all over the place. So the plan is to start, especially when baby Charlotte is here and our range is amplified again, to be able to start knocking off some of that Iowa area too. So we also are planning a Milwaukee and Chicago trip with the baby. I say that as she is less than 5 weeks away from coming earthside now. So baby Charlotte will soon be part of our adventures. Beautiful butterfly crossing the trail there. I hope you all had a great weekend. Sharing this on Monday. You might even see this video later today, potentially, depending on how the OB appointment goes today. I might be able to get this video out for this Monday's publication. As I was saying, I might be able to get this video out later today even, so we'll see how that goes. If not, you'll see it here tomorrow most likely. I also may be getting up here to Brunet Island later this week. Just kind of generally exploring all that this area has to offer for us. It's a really nice day today. I mean, the temperatures are probably in the low 70s. So here on August 4th now? It's just crazy to me, the Wisconsin summer versus what I am so used to coming from Missouri. I came in on that road over there, I do believe, through the bushes. County Highway S, yes, that's correct. So this trail definitely a little bit more urbanized, I would say. And the Old Abe Eagle Monument is 1 block that way. I drove past it without recognizing what that was for, with the actual town going that way. I'll see if I can get there and stop, maybe on the way back home, to show you the Civil War reference to the name of the Old Abe State Trail. So this trail is completely paved for almost 20 miles. Now some sites, if you look at the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, it'll say, 19.5. If you look at some other sites, it'll say 20. So I mean, I guess they're just rounding up ultimately, but either way you look at it. Some cool little marshlands over there to the right side. Friends, I want to take a moment to say thank you for 700 subscribers now. We really appreciate that, as it is just the beginning for us. We're very, very excited to share all of our travels and adventures, and as we add Charlotte to the mix now, to experience this as a true travel family. Such an exciting experience. And hopefully we can share all things that are worth seeing in this world with her also. There's a great breeze today. Not a lot to see so far, unfortunately, but at least we know now what the Old Abe State Trail northern section looks like as we continue to walk northbound. I haven't exactly decided on my other adventures for this week, to probably make at least 2 more videos for you. Potentially Fort Snelling finally this week, but we'll see. There's some other state parks in Minnesota that I want to check out also. So some real marshland over here as we continue to head north. Lots of those cattails and summer plants, some farmland back behind us. It's a beautiful area. It's definitely nice to walk next to it. Some pretty cool views of the marsh. Water I wouldn't dare swim in, of course, but some pretty cool views here on a cloudy day / hazy that is unfortunately influenced by the smoke coming from Canada and their wildfires still, as we're kind of going in spurts with that. But a little interesting side feature to the trail. A lot of marshland here in Wisconsin that we've seen lately, especially down with Merrick and Perot State Park in our last video, if you all were able to tune in for that one. What an adventure it was down there. And we do want to get back there, get down to La Crosse, and get down there maybe when there's fall foliage and we can camp and potentially have a Perot State Park Part 2 and conquer that Brady's Bluff Trail that everybody really has enjoyed. So that's like their highest rated trail there. So one of these days we'll get back. Ash is really wanting to camp there. She said that was like her favorite Wisconsin State Park. So that's saying a lot for someone who has lived in this state her entire life. But I'm also looking into Iowa now because I want to change it up and, you know, start to really expand and go to different locations. So I've been looking at northern Iowa to try to see what exactly is worth looking at there. Whether, again, it's parks and trails, or it's historic landmarks, or we're going to be meandering through towns. You know, we're open to anything. Quickly becoming really forested on this right side. Lots of bicyclists on this trail, being that it's so flat and easily circumnavigated by them. But also such a nice day, as the temperatures really haven't risen from the cold front that came through that left us in the low 70s for a couple days. We also had some maternity pictures done with the kiddos for baby Charlotte's arrival, so we're eagerly anticipating how those will turn out. So lots of things going on in the Whitcomb world right now. It's a pretty cool look. See the hillside just over the top of that little raised area to our left. But so lots of things going on in the Whitcomb house, and lots of things coming up. There's a sign over there in that yard that I can't, or in that field, that I can't really tell what the heck that actually says. Huh. Not sure. Coming up to a structure here. Now, a lot of this is private land off to the sides, as we have gates and private property signs and that sort of thing. This trail eventually goes all the way up to Cornell, from what I gather. See what this sign here says. Snowmobile trails maintained by Jimtown Rail Runners. Okay. And of course some illustrations on that stone wall there. Now more forested on both sides as we continue. There's some water through there that I see. Might be hard to pick up on camera. But just through those trees there, whether it's a pond or a small lake, there is some water that I'm seeing. I have the all trails going today just to see how far we make it. But this trail is starkly different than like the Chippewa River State Trail that we did, in just the nature of the environment. I mean, we're not walking directly next to a river the entire time, and it's not so much overgrown brush right up on the trail. So I can see why a lot of bicyclists are choosing this location to recreate. It's definitely different. And down further, you know, you start by Lake Wissota, you go over this pedestrian bridge, and that's where I had planned to start today. However, sometimes it just doesn't go that way. The parking was full. There wasn't really anywhere to begin my adventures. So then we come up to Jim Falls and begin up here. Jim Falls / Anson is exactly the name, but lots of fields and marshlands. So here's a an interpretive sign that's kind of dilapidated, for the lack of a better term. Milepost 11 on the Old Abe Trail, 10 miles to Cornell, 1 mile to Chippewa Falls, 9 miles to Chippewa. Now I wonder if that's 10 miles this way to Cornell, 1 mile to Chippewa Falls back behind us, and 9 miles to Chippewa back behind us, just because we're further north. So a basic understanding that we started in the Chippewa Falls Anson area kind of gives you the idea, but that trail does not say, or that marker does not say, if you continue 9 miles south or 9 miles back behind us, it's pretty trees, that you'll get to Chippewa Falls. Instead, it just says 9 miles. It doesn't really tell you which direction. So that could be a little confusing if you don't exactly know where you are, if you're lost, if you don't have all trails going. My thought is that I'm always going to use all trails now, especially since we gained that all trails ambassadorship. So we probably will largely be using that on the trails to help navigate, as their navigation features are second to none in my opinion. Lots of wildflowers though on the trail. I'm really enjoying that. Butterflies flying, pollinators are out. So it's a peaceful walk on the Old Abe Trail, the northern segment, and you can see some aspects of storm damage. Trees, branches snapped off. We've had some pretty hefty rain and storms recently, but a pretty area nonetheless. I'm curious if we're going to walk up to any water here down the line a little bit, as the town of Chippewa Falls does have some around it. There is water through the trees over there. We've gone almost a mile now. We're at 0.96 according to the all trails. So we'll see, friends. You can start to see water through the trees there. So we'll take a peek in just a second. Okay, here we go, friends. Now starting to finally see the water. This is Old Abe Lake, sprawling over to our left. Now we've kind of walked along the lake during our walk here. However, you haven't really been able to see it just because of the foliage over to the side, but now we're starting to get a more commanding view. Interesting. Some boats out, but it's Monday, so I mean, I don't expect to see a too crazy amount of people out today. Anyway, to give you an idea about mileage, we are at a mile 1.3 going from Chippewa Falls, so it does take a little bit before you start to really see some water and really walk next to it. But now we're starting to actually get a good angle of the lake. I don't know if that keeps up. I don't know how it winds, but also right through here, some friends. We got their attention. Hello. Hi. Some cows grazing in the field that are kind of probably wondering what the heck I'm doing out here. Interesting. I didn't think they would be right next to us, and here they are. cows on one side and Old Abe Lake on the other side. That's a combination. It's a pretty lake. Lots of waterways in this area that lead all the way up to Brunet Island State Park. As I was walking a little bit further back there, I saw a lot of water that was almost like right up to my side here. But wow, it's always nice to get a pretty view like this on your trails. And this whole greater area again of Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls and up further north to Cornell, great trail system here in Chippewa County, Wisconsin. With, you know, the two that we've done so far, the Chippewa River State Trail, the Red Cedar State Trail, and now Old Abe. Looking both ways here, back down the trail. Here's a full look for you, 360. And we'll continue to head down the trail and see what we see. Continuing on, there starts to be a little groove that builds to our left. The water straight through there of Old Abe Lake. But very wooded, very cool today, thanks to the shade, as the sun has not really peeked out a whole lot yet. But friends, how about that? I mean, a view of Old Abe Lake on one side, and I had the feeling that there was like something around me, that I was being watched potentially. Well, I was, by cows. So that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. Cows were sitting there grazing on the field. As we are walking really close to farmland. Here on our adventures north. We've kind of reached about 1.5 miles now. Very flat. You know, very quick to go a pretty reasonable distance on this trail, thanks to how flat and calm it is. Very few people out in this section. A lot of people really take to that Lake Wissota and that bridge that walks right across, part of it that heads back down towards Chippewa Falls, and the trail ultimately ending or beginning, depending on which side you're going from, pretty close to Chippewa Falls down there. Some pretty cool foliage popping up next to us. One of these days, I would still like to probably explore more of that Red Cedar River. Potentially going down to that Durand area, because I hear the Durand is pretty cool with the rivers running down that way. And there's a really massive bridge that goes across on that Red Cedar River trail down there that I want to see. So potentially we'll get back to that area also. Butterflies are out. It's really nice to see on a relatively mild, cool August day in Wisconsin. You know, of course, we've got about probably another 2 months until it really starts to get cold here. It kind of snaps pretty quick though up here. So, and we'll be back to the foliage being gone for a while, and wintertime adventures. More views of the lake. Can't go wrong with that. That eventually lead all the way up to that Brunet Island. by Cornell. We'll do a separate video at that state park, as we love to share all of our state park adventures with you. But along with the wildflowers, I mean, it is just, it's beautiful out here. Expansive views of the lake and the surrounding area. Pretty cool little capture here is there's like a little island that goes out, like a little offshoot of the mainland over here. And then on the other side, you're walking directly like by a marsh, like a small swamp almost. Of course, we have these pretty purples. You know, every location is unique for its own way, for its own reason. You know, it's not the crazy waterfalls or anything, but still commanding views of Old Abe Lake, and in its own way still very serene and peaceful and beautiful, and has all the things that you really could want. There's a little bench right here. That's kind of an interesting place for a bench. Let's look at the view from here. With a bicycle on it. Ah, yes. If we sit, you can see a nice little resting spot for bikers or hikers like me. Friends, of course, this is a Wisconsin State Trail, which means there is a permit for bicyclists and those that wish to inline skate. So those methods that can get you down the trail pretty quick. Now, from what I understand, all Wisconsin state trails are free for hiking or walking in this case. Some of them are more rugged than others, but in this case, more of a nice peaceful walk. There's that little island that kind of sprawls over there. Can't see it so well now, but it offshoots to the right and kind of makes a little channel this way. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Approaching that 2-mile mark now. There is another town somewhere between here and Cornell that keeps popping up on my all trails. I can't remember the name of it though. It is called, looks like Coban or Caban. Caban maybe? And the trail goes straight through there. So that's interesting. That town is pretty close to Brunet Island State Park up there. So traditional fields now taking over on that right side, but still with the lake kind of now marshy and these little side channels. Butterflies flying. Oh, hi. Monarch butterfly. Right there. Multiple butterflies now. Oh, wow, friends. There it is. Well, wish it would stop. I'd capture a picture for you. That is a beautiful one. Goodbye, friend. There was a time there where like 6 butterflies shot up, like I spooked them or something. But there's like 6 or 7 butterflies that poked up there out of nowhere. Again, friends, on these trails, be tick aware, especially still in August. They're still out there. We've probably got another, I don't know, month and a half or 2 of the ticks. Maybe a month and a half of ticks here in Wisconsin. And this season has just been really bad. So check your dogs when you're out on these trails, as they are all pet friendly. You even will see people on horseback out on this trail. Now there is a sign back, probably about a mile back, that says no horses after this point. And my assumption is that is because you're walking alongside the water, so if they get hyped up about anything, you don't want either of you to wind up in Old Abe Lake. Probably mile marker 12 coming up here, as we're just about at that 2 miles into our adventure. I've really enjoyed this, more than I even thought. Those butterflies are still hanging around us here. If they'd stop for a second, I would try and capture one for you. And then behind us, a whole possum family literally just went across the trail. What the heck is going on today, friends? I just happened to look back and see that. I don't know how well the camera caught that, but wow. Milepost 10, so we're going towards 1 instead of going towards 20. 10 miles to Chippewa, 2 miles to Jim Falls, where we started, 9 miles to Cornell. So Cornell being that last major town up here. Starting to see some of those plants that I really like right here on the side. Wow, that was a whole family of possum that just ran across. Another stunning butterfly. Lots of activity out here on the trail today. Oh my goodness. The cows, and of course, well, you know, they could have been anywhere else in their field, but they were right next to us. And then now possum running across the trail. Not sure if the camera picked it up, but wow. And then all the butterflies, all the birds. Just a really cool day today. Really cool. Glad you guys can share this with us. A couple picnic benches here right up a little further. Of course, a private property gate. And then a nice little bench there. Somebody has a shed. Well, again, we're right by somebody's property, so. But those picnic benches, there's a little marsh right across that you can see while you have lunch or take a break. When we stopped, or started rather, there were some bicyclists, of course, eating lunch there. So, I mean, however it is you recreate, if you're bringing snacks or if you're bringing your meals out here, I like that they give you opportunities to do that every so often here on the trail. I mean, we saw the bench and pretty little hill there with wildflowers off on that property. Now we have marsh on both sides. There's a lot of contrasting terrain on this trail. Marsh there, marshland there. Wisconsin really has something for everyone in a sense of recreation outdoors. And now my home state, not for most of my life, I've been here for over a year now. I couldn't be happier. Again, over to the fields and some bicyclists coming back down the trail now. Just pretty fields off to our right. And the land and farms and just beautiful. Of course, I try to find my peace everywhere that I go. It's sometimes more challenging at other locations. It was a pretty rough start to this trail here at that town where we didn't see a whole lot, but now it's just like there's a different view or something at every turn. Whereas when we first started the trail, there wasn't a lot to see at first. But now there is. See what this sign says here. Old Abe Lake Smallmouth Bass Habitat Development and Shoreline Preservation Project. Okay. So there's a little information for you about some of the trail projects that we have going on here. Continuing on, looking at all trails. 2.17 so far. In terms of elevation gain, there's next to none, 20 feet. So, I mean, very easy trail to circumnavigate here. I do recommend it. Very peaceful, very serene. We've gone about 2¼ miles now. And I really haven't found much to be upset about out here. Very scenic. Something making noise over to our right in that field. I like that they've done preservation efforts here to kind of foster the smallmouth bass population. Lots of great projects that they've done in this area, and they still work on to keep this area looking nice for all of us. Beautiful views. Some ducks over there, or geese rather, on a log. Ducks. Another little place to sit in memory of Julie Booth Schroeder. Unfortunately, we have to turn back here soon, but wow, what an experience today. I wouldn't have known that this beautiful of a setting was just here. Very pretty land. Starting to see some pretty cool houses over there on the lake. Butterflies are just in full force today. Just about to 2½ miles. Pretty cool land over on both sides. Some pinks over there. What an area. What a day. Lake views everywhere. Another bicyclist approaching us. So by the time we get back, we'll be about 5 miles today or so. I'll stop probably up here and turn back and see what we see on the way back. Appreciate all of you joining us today, friends, on this next adventure. Just about at the point when I decide to turn around, it just turns into full foliage cover. Completely enshrouded now by the woods. So that's pretty cool. just over 2.5 miles now of walking on this, well, what really turned out to be very simple, easy state trail. Of course, as we start to get closer to Brunet Island State Park, we'll get out there and explore that. That's my plan. It's not too far from home. We're gonna have to start going a little further out to the state parks in our state park series, because we made it to just about all of them close to home. So I really look forward to that. And seeing the Minnesota ones also. Nice deer stand over there. So we're definitely getting into hunting areas now. And more of the clear signage up here indicating no hunting or private property. So things change as you walk, for sure. First time experiencing the full silhouette of the woods on this trip. But it's cool, really enjoying it. We'll be heading back soon, friends. I know I keep saying it, but we actually will here in just a little bit. We gotta go check on Charlotte at the OB today. So I will be there with her for that. And then we'll be back on the adventure path. Maybe the rest of this week. I don't have to go to work until Saturday. Starting our return trip, friends. Beautiful views of the forested, now on our right side. It's pretty out here. You know, you really start to realize things when the foliage overtakes you. I would have gone 10 miles today had I not had this appointment to make with Ash. But it's going to be close to 6. Sometimes you don't recognize the view until you come back through. Stunning. Getting close to that 4-mile marker, friends, on this trip. Even the marsh, you know, with what it has going, is scenic to an extent. Yeah, the water's nasty, but it still has appeal in its own way. Way over there in the distance, I can see some buoys from a swimming area. Just missing the blue skies. I don't know when they'll come back. There have been like 4 deadlines to this air quality alert, and each one of them has been pushed even further back. So originally it was supposed to expire this past Friday, then it was Sunday, then it was today, and now it's tomorrow. So we'll see how long this continues. I feel like it's partially driving our temperatures down though, that it's been so hazy. So my theory could be completely wrong, could be partially right, who knows. More views of Old Abe Lake. Beautiful. What a day it turned out to be today. You know, I didn't have amazing expectations for this area, but Wisconsin has blown me away in many aspects of its nature. So beautiful. Hope you all are having a great day. Friends, remember, if you are interested in seeing perhaps a more photogenic side of our adventures. On Instagram, we just hit 3,500 followers. Check out the Instagram. We post the exclusive photos from all of our adventures that you probably won't see over here on YouTube unless we make a post. So if that's something that interests you, we always post the link to the Instagram. I'm also going to work on the All Trails Ambassador stuff this week and get more of that stuff ironed out for you. Get those codes and everything in case any of you are interested in saving money on All Trails packages. I will have further details for you here soon. It's going to be close to a 6-mile day. Looking at my map here on All Trails, we just hit 4. So we'll see how far we wind up going by the time we get back to the car. I'm sure it'll be close to 6 miles. Just past the sign for 1 mile to go to Chippewa Falls. Back to having fields next to us on one side and woods on the other. We'll have to walk through town again. But we are at 4.67 miles with about a mile to go. Pretty good day. Pretty good pace. That's in under 2 hours. About a 22-minute pace, which for, you know, capturing all the photos and everything, I haven't been pausing it, so it's a pretty good pace. Usually we can get up to 3, but it's, you know, not easy with all the other things. So here's that random kind of hill type thing again with the rocks on the side. Still not kind of sure what this is. Trail 31 south, Trail 31 north, Trail 18 west, and Chippewa Falls. Oh, snowmobile trails, I see. Okay. But here's this from the other angle. So we start to get back towards the car. I can see where they would have snowmobiles go through. Okay, friends, we made it back to Chippewa Falls and to where the car is parked. About 5.5 miles total by the end of it all. We appreciate you all watching and joining us on all of our adventures through all the states, all the state parks, everywhere we go. If you enjoyed the content, you want to see a more photogenic side, follow us over on Instagram. We share all of our pictures from our travels. So for Ash, for the kiddos, Winston, and Charlotte now, I'm Brandon. And we'll see you on the next adventure, because this is just the beginning for us. And we don't know where the road will take us.